These are without doubt one of my family's absolute favourite sweet treats. The moment you sink your teeth into one of those warm and soft cinnamon rolls, you'll completely understand why. And trust me, they're worth every ounce of effort. Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome back to our kitchen, where we show you how to make delicious, family-friendly recipes. I love to do a little bit of baking on a Saturday, and if I ask the kids what they want me to bake, they're always going to say cinnamon rolls. Now, there are a few steps to get the perfect cinnamon roll, but I'm going to take you through every single one of them. So let's get cooking. To a microwavable bowl, add 180 ml or 3/4 cup of full fat milk and 60 grams or 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's been chopped into small cubes. We're going to place that in the microwave and heat for about 1 minute, stirring once halfway through heating. We want that milk to feel warm but not hot. Now pour that warm milk and butter into the bowl of a stand mixer. Add in 55 grams or 1/4 cup of granulated or caster sugar, 2½ teaspoons of easy bake dried yeast, one large egg, and the egg yolk from a large egg. We're going to mix that together for a few seconds until just combined. I do this with the dough hook so I don't have to change out the attachment later. Now add in 360 grams or 3 cups of strong white bread flour and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to mix that in on a slow setting, again with the dough hook, for about 30 to 60 seconds until combined. Now turn up the speed to medium and knead the dough with the dough hook attachment for about 10 minutes. The dough should be sticky. Then remove the mixer bowl from the stand mixer and cover with cling film or wax wrap. Leave the dough to proof for about 60 to 90 minutes until the dough's doubled in size. Now that dough's doubled in size, we're going to start rolling it out. But first, make sure you've got a rectangular baking dish that's been lined with baking parchment. Okay, let's make some room. Sprinkle about 3 tablespoons of flour on a clean work surface and then tip out the proved dough. Then we're going to sprinkle about another tablespoon of flour on top to stop it sticking. Want to shape the dough with your hands, or you can use a rolling pin, into a rectangle that's about 16 by 10 inches, with the longest side closest to you. Now I'm going to spread about 4 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter all over the dough rectangle, right up to the edges. Mix together 90 grams or 2/3 cup of light brown sugar with 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. Then sprinkle that sugar and cinnamon mixture all over the dough. You can use your hands to ensure it's spread nice and evenly. Now carefully roll up the dough from the longest side, rolling it away from you. So a little tip for slicing the cinnamon rolls up is to use a piece of natural cotton, or you can use some unwaxed, unflavoured dental floss. And then we basically go underneath and we cut through. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into 12 pieces, but first we're going to cut off the ends to make sure that the cinnamon rolls are nice and neat and even. Don't throw away those ends. They go on a separate little dish. They're the cook's treat, so they're important. Using that cotton rather than a knife is really important to maintain the shape of the cinnamon roll and ensure we get that lovely signature cinnamon roll swirl. So we're going to do a second proof now for about 30 to 60 minutes, covering the dough with some cling film or some wax wrap to ensure that the dough expands and it develops the flavour of the dough further before we place them in the oven. Okay, so they've proved beautifully. They've really expanded to fill out the tray. I'm going to place those in a preheated oven at 170C or 340F for about 20 minutes until they're lightly golden brown. We don't want them any darker than that because we want them to be lovely and soft and fluffy. And don't forget to put your chef's treat in there as well. So whilst those cinnamon rolls are in the oven, we're going to make the cream cheese frosting. To a bowl, add 180 grams, which is about 6.3 ounces of full-fat cream cheese. Give it a little whisk with a hand whisk or an electric whisk, just to loosen it up a little bit. Now add in 70 grams, which is about 4.5 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter. 180 grams, which is about 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar or icing sugar that's been sifted. And a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste or 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And whisk all that together until it's nice and smooth. Okay, so the cream cheese frosting is done and the cinnamon rolls are nearly ready. I'm very excited for these. So we're going to leave those cinnamon rolls to cool for about 5 minutes before we spread on that cream cheese frosting. So now we're going to spread that cream cheese frosting over the still warm cinnamon rolls. You want to do it while the cinnamon rolls are still warm so that they're nice and soft on top and they don't go crispy. Just look at that. Perfect, sugary, light, fluffy, swirly texture, topped with that lovely decadent frosting. I know these aren't going to last long in my house. Oh my gosh, heavenly. I'm not even going to share them. Oh.